Live from New Delhi, you're watching Lead India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump urges oil giants to invest in Venezuela's vast reserves, meets energy majors CEO at White House, vows full security guarantees. Fresh protests erupt in Iran despite internet blackout. US President says monitoring situation very closely as toll rises to over 50. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to embark on a two-day Gujarat visit to participate in Swabhiman Parv and other events at Somnath temple. And in sports, two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu battles China's Wang in the semifinals of Malaysia Open. All right, first we have updates from US President Donald Trump's meeting with top oil companies' CEOs at White House, where he urged executives to pour billions of dollars into tapping the Venezuela's vast oil reserves. Donald Trump also said the oil companies would have security guarantees to operate in Venezuela while declaring Caracas open for business. Representatives from Chevron, ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips and more than a dozen other oil and gas firms were present for the meeting, less than a week after the U.S. captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Trump administration officials have said they need to control Venezuela's oil sales and revenues indefinitely to ensure the country acts in America's interest, including by reducing corruption and drug trafficking.
One thing I will tell them, and I will tell you, that we are open for business. China can buy all the oil they want from us there or in the United States. Russia can get all the oil they need from us, and they do like oil, even though they produce a lot of it. But China and Russia and everybody else is able to go, and we'll be open for business almost immediately.
The US President called the capture and removed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from power a miracle and said South Americans are going to be happy.
Everyone's going to be happy in South America, everybody. What we've done is, some people would say it's a miracle, actually, what we've done. And Venezuela's happy. I think they're all going to be happy. Thank you very much, everybody.
Meanwhile, a demonstration was held in Panama City's Avenue of the Martyrs to reject security policies signed with the United States, coinciding with the commemoration of the January 9th of 1964 uprising. Union Group warned that U.S. intervention in Venezuela and the arrest of its sitting president served as an international alarm that could happen in Panama, noting that recovering exclusive use of the Panama Canal had been declared a U.S. interest. The January 9th date commemorates the 1964 flag riots when Panamanian students were killed during protests demanding sovereignty over the Panama Canal zone, which remained under U.S. control until the canal's transfer to Panama in 1999. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration returned to Bolivia after being expelled nearly 2 decades ago, marking a significant shift in the country's anti-narcotics policy. Deputy Minister of Social Defense Ernesto Justiniano confirmed that Bolivia was working with American cooperation. He hoped to reach an agreement for long-term presence to achieve greater impact in fighting drug trafficking. The DEA is now coordinating with Bolivian law enforcement, including the Special Force, to fight drug trafficking, with 9 international agencies currently cooperating on drug enforcement. The DEA's return comes 17 years after it was expelled in 2009 under then-President Evo Morales, who accused the agency of political interference. All right, moving on to the issue of Greenland, U.S. President again said that the U.S. needs to own Greenland to prevent Russia or China from occupying it in the future. These repeated statements have deepened the divide between Trump and the European leaders.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Updates from West Asia now. Fresh protests erupted in Iran despite nationwide blackout. Iranians took to the streets in new protests Friday to press the biggest movement against the government in more than 3 years. In Tehran's Sadatabad district, people banged pots and chanted anti-government slogans. The internal blackout has sharply reduced the amount of information flowing out of Iran, and phone calls to the country were not getting through. At least 17 flights between Dubai and Iran were cancelled. These protests followed joint demonstrations on Thursday that were the biggest in Iran since 2022-23 protest movement. Meanwhile, in his first comments on the escalating protests since January 3rd, country's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei on Friday called the demonstrators vandals and saboteurs. Khamenei, in a speech broadcast on state TV, vowed not to back down, accusing demonstrators of acting on behalf of opposition groups abroad and the United States. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps also issued a statement on Friday saying it would not tolerate the continuation of the current situation in the country. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump issued a fresh warning to Iran's leaders on Friday. Talking to media at White House, Trump said the situation in Iran is being monitored very closely and for the protesters in the country to be safe. He warned that if protesters were killed, the US would get involved and would hit the country where it hurts.
We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts.
The leaders of France, Britain and Germany also issued a joint statement on Friday condemning the killing of protesters and urged the Iranian authorities to restrain from violence. UN spokesperson Stephen Dujarric said the United Nations was very disturbed by the loss of life.
We're continuing to follow the situation extremely closely, very disturbed by the loss of life that we've seen. As in my answer to Deji, people anywhere in the world have a right to demonstrate peacefully, and governments have a responsibility to protect that right and to ensure that that right is respected.
Now, US President Donald Trump has announced a new round of travel restrictions effective from January 1st, 2026, targeting 7 countries that include Burkina Faso, Laos, Mali, Niger, Sierra Leone, South Sudan and Syria. Trump's administration said the move is motivated by concerns over national security and inadequate vetting systems in these 7 nations. The restrictions apply to both immigrant and non-immigrant visa categories, though exemptions have been provided for lawful permanent residents, existing visa holders, diplomats and individuals deemed to be travelling in the national interest. The order builds on earlier measures announced in June 2025, which impose full travel bans on nationals from 12 countries and partial restrictions on 7 others. Several African nations feature prominently in the expanded list, including South Sudan, Nigeria, Senegal and Zimbabwe. Tensions around the Ukraine conflict intensified as Russia carried out a missile strike near the European Union border, prompting reactions from Ukrainian officials and renewed security steps by Western allies. In an evening address on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia fired a medium-range hypersonic or Reshnik missile late on January 8 at a target in Ukraine's Lviv region close to the border with NATO member Poland. He said the strike was demonstratively close to the European Union and warned it could pose risks to countries including Poland, Romania and Hungary. Lviv mayor said the strike sent a clear message to European leaders and the United States, noting that it occurred near the European Union's border. He says similar missiles could reach European capitals within minutes and described the attack on Ukraine's cultural capital as going beyond common sense. Meanwhile, Britain said it would allocate $270 million to prepare for a possible deployment of troops to Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. The move follows a declaration of intent agreed by British Prime Minister, French President and Ukrainian President at a meeting of Ukraine's allies. Britain's Defence Minister said the funds would support vehicle upgrades, communications, counter-drone protection and troop readiness. Bangladesh Nationalist Party BNP leader Tariq Rahman has been appointed as the party's chairperson, filling the vacant post following the death of former Prime Minister and longtime party chief Khaleda Zia. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir confirmed that the decision was taken unanimously at a meeting of the BNP Standing Committee. Tariq Rahman had been serving as the party's acting chairperson since 2018, now has formally assumed the role of BNP chairperson. The Standing Committee meeting was chaired by Tariq Rahman himself and attended by senior party leaders of the party's highest policy-making body. Party sources said the emergency meeting also discussed the country's prevailing political situation and outlined the BNP's future course of action. The situation of religious minorities in Bangladesh has drawn renewed international attention after UK Shadow Foreign Secretary Priti Patel raised concerns over reports of rising violence against Hindus. In a letter to the UK Foreign Secretary, Patel described the incidents as deeply concerning, citing reports that at least 6 Hindus were killed within 18 days. She urged the UK government to clarify what steps it has taken to engage with Bangladeshi authorities, seek assurances on minority protection and use diplomatic influence to help restore stability and safeguard religious freedom. Weather updates now. First up from Europe, Storm Gorretti battered parts of the United Kingdom on Friday, causing damage along the southern English coast as strong winds and severe weather led to widespread disruption. In Folkestone, powerful winds wrecked coastal structures and beach huts. The Met Office said the storm hit hardest across the southwest Wales, the Midlands and parts of northern England. The impact was felt across Europe as well, with thousands of homes losing power, flights grounded and train services disrupted due to gale force winds and heavy snowfall. A winter storm sweeping across northern Europe disrupted travel in parts of Germany, affecting road, rail and air movement with icy conditions causing delays and cancellations. In Hamburg, a stalled truck at the port triggered major traffic jams, while at Berlin's airport, aircraft had to be de-iced before takeoff. Airport authorities said the vast tarmac area was cleared of ice and snow before early morning flights could depart. Rail services were also hit with train cancellation from Berlin to a number of destinations due to adverse weather forecast. Severe winter weather conditions continue to affect several parts of the country, with dense fog and cold wave disrupting normal life. According to India's weather department, an orange alert for dense fog was in place over Rajasthan. Dense fog and cold wave conditions and Gulf Ajmer, reducing visibility and affecting early morning movement as residents braved the severe cold. Cold wave conditions tightened their grip on the national capital, with people taking shelter at night shelters near Nizamuddin to escape the biting cold. Also, an orange alert was issued for heavy to very heavy rainfall for Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Severe cold during Chilai-Kalan has tightened its grip on South Kashmir, leaving residents of Shopian battling an acute water crisis. Sub-zero temperatures amid the ongoing 40-day Chilai-Kalan have frozen water pipelines across Shopian district, severely disrupting water supply. Residents are using temporary methods such as pouring boiling water on pipes or burning hay to restore flow, while many are forced to travel long distances to fetch water. Locals have appealed to the authorities for urgent intervention to restore supply and provide relief during the harsh winter conditions. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Budget session from January 28, Union Budget on February 1st. And Khelo India Beach Games unite athletes in Diu. Details after the break.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching Lead India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Somnath in West Indian city of Gujarat on a two-day visit on Saturday to participate in Somnath Swabhiman Parv. During his visit, the Prime Minister on Saturday will participate in Omkar Mantra chanting, and thereafter he will view drone show at Somnath Temple. PM Modi on Sunday will participate in Shaurya Yatra, a ceremonial procession organized to honor the countless warriors who laid down their lives defending the Somnath temple. The Shaurya Yatra will feature a symbolic procession of 108 horses reflecting valor and sacrifice. He will later perform darshan and puja at the Somnath temple. PM Modi will also participate in an address a public function in Somnath. The Somnath Swabhiman Parv, being held from 8th to 11th January 2026, is organized at Somnath. It is being held to remember the countless citizens of India whose sacrifice to defend the temple continues to inspire the cultural consciousness of future generations. The program marks 1000 years since Mahmud of Ghazni's invasion of the Somnath temple in the year 1026. The celebrations will witness the participation of hundreds of saints from across the country, along with 72 hours of continuous chanting of Om within the temple premises. Prime Minister's participation in Somnath Swabhiman Parv underscores the enduring spirit of India's civilization and reaffirms his commitment to preserve and celebrate India's rich cultural and spiritual heritage. Gujarat's Rajkot is gearing up to host a grand, vibrant Gujarat exhibition highlighting the industrial and export potential of Saurashtra and Kutch. The Vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference exhibition will be held in Rajkot from January 11 to 15 and will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Spread over nearly 26,000 square meters, the exhibition will feature more than 400 exhibitors from sectors including agro-food processing, energy, engineering, defense, petrochemicals and logistics. Over 110 international buyers from 16 countries are expected to participate, with the event aimed at boosting exports from Saurashtra and Kutch. Some more stories. India has taken a major leap in hypersonic weapons development. The Hyderabad-based Defence Research and Development Laboratory, a key unit of the Defence Research and Development Organization, has successfully conducted a long-duration ground test of an actively cooled full-scale scramjet combustor. The test, carried out on January 9 at the state-of-the-art Scramjet Connect pipe test facility, marks a critical milestone in the development of hypersonic missile technology. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh congratulated DRDO scientists, industry partners and academia, calling the achievement a strong foundation for India's hypersonic cruise missile development program. On the last day of France's visit, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar met with India-France Parliamentary Friendship Group, reflecting the growing depth and maturity of India-France partnership. During the interaction, the minister expressed India's sincere gratitude for France's strong and consistent support to India in its fight against terrorism and specifically thanked French leaders and lawmakers for standing with India during Operation Sindhu. The discussions focused on further strengthening bilateral ties with emphasis on defence and security cooperation, strategic coordination and enhanced parliamentary engagement. Both sides also exchanged views on expanding cooperation in trade and investment, clean energy, climate action, technology and innovation, while reaffirming a shared commitment to a rules-based international order, strategic autonomy and stability in Indo-Pacific region. Later, the External Affairs Minister met the Director General of UNESCO, highlighting India's expanding engagement with the organization. He visited to the Wall of Peace at the UNESCO headquarters. The visit underscored India's commitment to the values of peace, equality, justice and multilateralism. The interaction also reflected India's increasing role and active participation in UNESCO, particularly in the areas of education, culture, heritage conservation and sustainable development. The budget session of Indian Parliament will commence from 28th of January and will continue till the 2nd of April 2026. In a social media post, India's Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju announced that President Draupadi Murmu has approved summoning the Parliament for the budget session, which as per the norm will be held in two phases. The first phase of the budget session will conclude on 13 February, after which Parliament will adjourn for a recess. The second phase will begin on March 9 and continue till April the 2nd. The social media platform X, owned by billionaire Elon Musk, has been under fire from officials around the world since last week, when Grok began flooding the site with AI-generated, non-consensual images of women and children. With pressure mounting, Musk XAI, which operates Grok and owns X, appeared to be imposing some restrictions on Grok's public image generation. British Technology Minister Liz Kendall said she expected media regulator Ofcom to take action over X in days, not weeks. She noted that the watchdog was empowered to issue hefty fines or even block services from Britain if they failed to comply.
Ofcom should use the full powers of the law that Parliament has given it. X needs to get a grip and get this material down, and I would remind them that in the Online Safety Act there are backstop powers to block access to services if they refuse to comply with the law for people in the UK. And if Ofcom decides to use those powers, they would have the full backing of the government.
All right, sports updates now. India star badminton player PV Sindhu will lock horns with Wang of China in the semifinals of the Malaysia Open in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. Sindhu marched into the last four after Akane Yamaguchi of Japan retired due to an injury during quarterfinals. Sindhu, returning after a long injury layoff, won the first game against reigning world champion Yamaguchi before the Japanese shuttler decided to retire due to injury. Two-time Olympic medalist Sindhu will now face second seed Chinese Wang Yi. This will be Sindhu's first appearance in the last four of a Super 1000 tournament since 2021 and the first semis at the Malaysia Open in 8 years. Now, the spirit of sports and unity is shining bright in India's Diu as Khelo India Beach Games bring together young talent from across the nation. With thrilling competitions and vibrant energy, the games promise excitement until the grand closing on Saturday. Take a look at this report.
The Khelo India Beach Games underway in Diu are not only showcasing thrilling sporting action but also presenting a clear picture of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. More than 2,100 athletes from across the country have arrived in Diu to participate. Despite the cultural and linguistic diversity of different states, the games are painting a beautiful portrait of unity in diversity.
This gives me immense pleasure to see this at this level, because earlier we used to find the opportunity to go somewhere and fight. But here, due to our PM, Mr. Modi, we got this platform and the people are coming to us. We are very, very happy. Being the host, we got the chance to participate in every category. My children, they have proved that they have the courage and strength and power to perform better.
From Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Arunachal to Gujarat, athletes from every corner of the nation have come together at the Khelo India Beach Games. Players believe this platform is not just about sports but also about sharing experiences with fellow athletes from other states, a golden opportunity to learn and grow together.
Everyone is here very intrigued with the acknowledgement that there are so many sports here going on and with so much of enthusiasm and dedication. So I feel like the youth is very inspired and they will be trying for getting selected and performing for beach games.
Organized under the Khelo India scheme, the beach games are proving to be a major stage for young athletes. At the same time, this platform is strengthening the bonds of unity and discipline among them. The dominance of athletes from Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu in several competitions further highlights how this event is nurturing a new sporting culture in the Union Territory. The games began with their grand opening ceremony on 5th January this year in Diu, and they will conclude with the closing ceremony on 10th of January, bringing together days of sporting excellence and cultural unity. Sushil Oja's report for DD India.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.